is coming to save you. That is the hardest truth about being in your 30s. The disappointments, the heartbreaks, and the betrayals. And the truth is, you got to carry it all on your back. There's no syllabus for how to navigate life when your safety net is gone. At the end, no one prepares you for the moment when you realize that it's all on you. Hi, I'm Chika. Welcome to my channel. And today I really want to break down some harsh truths about being in your 30s and really want to share with you gems that I wish somebody told me, right, when I was in my 20s and I was up and coming and I was learning all these things on my own. Friendships will change, some will fade, some will betray you, and a few will quietly resent your growth. A lot of people look at me and they're like, girl, your skin is glowing, you got a husband, look at your home, look at everything you got going, and nobody knows all the things I've gone through on the journey, and I'm still gonna go through, because I expect life just to throw things at you, right? And the truth is, I lost a sister in my 20s, and she was only 17, and I'm gonna do a whole video about grief and just what it just means to lose a sibling, you know, especially someone that I was pretty much her second parent, right? And I watched my parents' marriage fall apart when I was only 9 years old, and that had deeply lasting effects. And I think one of the other things that I experienced, and this kind of all happened, like one happened when I was 9, but a lot of it happened when I was in my 20s, right before I made the decision to move to Nigeria for some years. And the other thing is dealing with serious heartbreak, you know, with someone I was with for 5 years. I genuinely thought this was my husband. No one could tell me anything different. And the betrayal and the infidelity and the other things that I experienced in that relationship, no one prepares you for all these big life moments and how it impacts you in your 30s. First thing I want to talk about is your friendships will change, okay? When you're in your 20s, the truth is you're going to look at friends very different. And I know right now it may be hard for you to understand. You're right now in your 20s, you're like, well, you know, this is my girl, this is my best friend. How are things going to change? And I think the biggest dynamic shift is actually, I think friendships change twice in your 20s, and then in your 30s, it's kind of like a new reawakening, right? So in my 20s, when I think about it, you're just coming out of college, and some of the people that were my friends in the 20s, you know, were people I knew in middle school and high school. And the truth is, if you look at all my pictures from when I was in my 20s, we were in the thick of going to parties, being out, being a hot girl, you know, you're still dating, you're still on the scene. And so a lot of times your friendships are really more on, you know, certain situations, right? Which is like, okay, we're the party friends, or okay, we're the friends that do brunch, you know, okay, I met your friends and now we're friends. And it was kind of more of like that, right? And then when I started to transition into my late 20s, things started shifting in some of these friendships because, number one, some of these girls started getting married, right? And they got married early. I know for me, I've been blessed. One of my long-lasting friendships, my best friend, Roxy, shout out to you, girl. And, you know, I've known her since literally freshman year of high school. So we've had a friendship about, you know, close to 20 years. And, you know, she got married like pretty much 10 years before me, right? And had kids way before me. And luckily we have been able to maintain that type of friendship. But I would be honest, right? There are some friends where they got married in their mid-20s. They already have 1, 2, 3 kids. And the friendship dynamic is not the same because the truth is I was still single, right? I just got married a couple years ago. And so it was hard to maintain the friendship because they're in a different phase of life. I think the other thing that I really noticed in, you know, my 20s transition into my 30s was this was the first time I'm waking up and it's like, okay, some of us are on the climb, right? We are ambitious with our careers. We're building business. You know, someone like me that has been a public figure for a long time because I was building a tech company and doing other things and always been a, you know, an influencer of some sorts. And the truth is that's when I started realizing, oh, friends can be jealous of you. Friends can betray you. Friends could resent you, right? And I didn't realize that until pretty much when I started transitioning into my 30s. And one of the stories is that one of my closest friends tried to torpedo the beginnings of me and my husband's relationship, right? And she's no longer a friend. We do not speak. We have nothing to say to each other. And I just never would imagine someone who was so close to me, especially this friend in particular, was part of, you know, my group of friends when I was mourning the loss of my sister in my 20s. So I just would never imagine that, like, now I'm transitioning to my 30s, that there would be an issue, right? And so I think one of the biggest lessons here is that when you think about friendships, right, do not get upset that there's a change. Like, understand there will be changes, okay? Understand, just embrace it, right? And if anything, really pay attention to the flags. I think for me, I didn't pay attention enough. I saw subtle jabs and I saw snarky remarks and things of that nature. And because I'm genuinely a positive person, I believe in abundance. I believe everybody, has something for them, something that's coming to them. I just never would have thought that those comments meant something deeper or sinister happening. So pay attention, okay? If you are sensing jealousy, they are jealous of you, okay? If you're sensing that they resent you, they probably are. And you need to move accordingly. And I think the biggest lesson I learned in my 20s transition to my 30s is that you need friendships that can support you with the real ish. Okay, the real stuff that's going on, that's when you need the friends. Because like I said before, I went through a lot of things in my 20s, and then as I got married and now I'm up leveling my career and all the other things, you need friends that are going to be able to cry with you. You need friends that are going to be able to tell you your ish. You need friends that are there to support you. You need a support system. And so these are so important lessons as you are transitioning from your 20s to 30s with friendships. Love isn't about luck, it's a choice. And I'm going to say something that some of y'all don't want to hear, but if you don't know your worth, life will put a price on you, okay? I see this every day, right? Obviously, I'm a coach. I talk to a lot of women and men. And the truth is, a lot of people's self-worth is not at the level that it needs to be. And so a lot of times when they come to me complaining about why is this man doing this or why did this person do that, the truth is a lot of y'all are staying in relationships that do not serve you, right? And you're allowing this man, because I'm a woman, so I'm going to speak about women, is you're allowing this man to put a price on you. You're allowing this man to tell you what your worth is instead of you standing up and saying, no, I am this, I am that. I know for me, that was the biggest lesson I had to learn in my 20s, right? I was dating, especially because for me, I had a long-term relationship from like literally age 19 to 25, right? And so I was kind of in this cocoon of this relationship. Didn't realize how ghetto it is outside. Didn't know the streets were the streets when it came to me dating. I had no idea, okay? All right? And I quickly was like, oh, this is not for me. But the truth is, I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot. And there was a lot of men that treat me with disdain. I'll never forget, there was a dude I was dating, and very quickly, he, for some reason, thought I was going to be his sugar mama, right? This was around my birthday, so I'm thinking, okay, I had to actually travel to London because I had to do a TV appearance. And so all this time we're chatting, and I'm like, oh, when I come back from London, we're going to connect. We're going to have this big birthday. You're going to take me to dinner, all these things. Girl, when I tell you, the whole time I was in London, he kept saying, buy this for me, buy this for me, buy this for me. And I just remember being like, this is a little strange. Like, I've never been with a man who is like literally giving me a list, right? And it's not even like he's like, oh, buy these things for me because I'm gonna pay you back. It was like, just buy these things for me. And I remember we came back, and I feel like I met him in a hotel room that I booked, right? Because at this time I'm still living in my family's house, and he came to visit. When I tell you, all he was concerned about was what I got him. He had no birthday plans for me. He had nothing put together, no gifts, no nothing. And the stupid thing, I still stayed. I still stayed for a few months, and it took me literally finding out about some other women and finding out he had a gambling issue that I was like, oh, I'm out. I have no time for this. So I need you to understand that it's so important, ladies, that you really put your level of self-worth first. And if you consistently see yourself in a string of relationships where the man is treating you some type of way, and men don't want to commit to you, and men don't want to treat you as the queen that you are, then that's time for you to take a break from dating, and you need to figure out what is going on. Because at the end of the day, love is a choice, right? And so after a string of failed relationships, I had to make the decision of, okay, something's going on. How am I showing up? So I seek coaching, I seek therapy, right? And now in my marriage, I'm realizing like, okay, like this is the reason why I'm in this type of marriage. Now, of course, we have our challenges, right? No marriage is perfect, but I will say there is a high level of respect. And the cutest thing my husband did the other day was, yesterday he was a bunch of men, men be talking, and the man straight up asked him like, do you enjoy marriage? And my husband was like, I do. I actually enjoy my wife. That's what you want. That's the energy you want, ladies. So it's so important that you understand this hard truth, especially when you're in your 30s, that love is a choice. You get to decide who you spend your life with. You get to decide who is in your space. You get to decide who you date. And if you don't, if you just allow life to happen to you, then you already know what it is. Now, this one is a touchy one for me, okay? And it is, your career won't love you back. Woo! I had to learn this the hard way, okay? I had to hear this the long way. And I used to honestly believe that if I worked hard enough that I'd be indispensable, and that is far from the truth, okay? You work for a corporation, they can replace you very sharply. And I want to make this very clear, right? I am an entrepreneur, right? But I don't believe everyone is supposed to be an entrepreneur. I believe that there's people who are entrepreneurs, meaning that they are have an entrepreneurial mindset within their job, within their career. There's some people that are amazing at their jobs, and I feel like they're always going to have a great career, and they're going to be paid a lot of money because they have a specific skill set. And I can think of quite a number of friends that fall into this category. So I don't want you to misconstrue this section around your career won't love you back. But I think what is really important to understand is that you should not be married to your specific job title, right? Especially, let me speak to the techies, right? And nurses even too, because I feel like both of you guys represent people who are like married to your title, right? You need to understand that anything can happen, especially if you're watching this video during this Trump economy, okay? You see how the markets are moving, right? Companies are laying off more than ever, and you need to understand that you need to build your own personal branding. It's so important that you personally brand yourself. It's so important that you understand that you're more than just your job. There's some people that literally live and breathe, oh, I work at Google, I work at Facebook, I'm a nurse at Johns Hopkins. Like, they don't have anything else going on in their life besides that. No, okay? You need to have your own life, your own hobbies, your own friends, things that you look forward to. But if you are an ambitious person, then make sure you put things in place so that it doesn't matter if a company lays you off, because either you have a side hustle, you can be an entrepreneur, or you can get another job very quickly. I know for me, right, I worked at a lot of amazing companies. I worked at Pinterest, I worked at the World Bank, I worked at ExxonMobil, and I feel like I was able to get these coveted jobs because I always understood how to make my resume make sense, right? I always made sure I was personally branded. I literally to this day own myname.com, chicowaze.com. I own that, right? And I think, like, for those who especially have careers and they work in corporate, make sure that you have a website that's updated so when people Google you, they can find you, right? And I also took joy in speaking. I took joy in taking things outside of work so that when companies look me up, they're like, oh, this is someone we want. This is someone we want to hire. And I think if you do that, you're just going to really enjoy working, and you're just going to see work in a different type of way. And I think the last thing that I want to, put here is that so many people break their backs for companies, and it's so crazy how quickly a company will remove you, right? Like, I think the last corporate job I had, funny enough, it was in a crypto company, and I left. Right? And the way they were so quick to be like, here's your money, your email's disconnected, like there was no like goodbye, nothing. It was so quick and curt. And I realized, like, oh, these companies ain't checking for you, because you best believe in a week later they're gonna have my job up there looking to hire someone else. So I really want you to understand this. I think a lot of people are so married to their specific title, and they don't understand that they're more than that. And the truth is that you have a beautiful life to live that has so many different facets that you should be able to look forward to. The next thing I want to talk about is your body is going to start talking back to you. And ooh, Lord, I am 36, and it is very true, right? I'm realizing that, I was privileged in my 20s, right? Because I was very active, right? And I do think when you start to transitions in your 30s, it's very easy to slow down your activity, right? Because a lot of us were eating, but maybe we're active. Maybe we are in a sporting league. Maybe, we're just keeping up with the gym, whatever it means, because we have the energy. We're like Energizer bunnies. And I realize now in my mid-30s that I have to take a conscious effort to be specific about what I put in my body and working out. I know for me, I even had to figure out that like, oh, like, you know, in my 20s, I used to be heavy in CrossFit, right? I used to be heavy in weightlifting. And now in my 30s, I still weightlift, but I don't do it as much because I need to be a little bit kinder and softer to my body, you know? So I'm a bar girl. I know there's Pilates. I know y'all are Pilates mommies. Pilates is cool for me. I love bar. I don't know, maybe because I was a ballerina when I was young, so bar, I really identify with bar. But I definitely do bar, I do spin, and I walk, right? And a lot of these activities help me keeping my body nice and fit, and I can lose a couple pounds, okay? So I'm still trying to work on my nutrition, but you really have to understand when you hit your 30s, you're gonna see very quickly how your body can betray you. Like, you're gonna start feeling aches, and joint pains and all types of things. So it's so important that you don't get in your 30s and stop the nutrition. And a lot of times people see women specifically in their 40s that are looking good and like, oh my God, like they look good. And I'm like, yeah, because 40, it's like halfway through life. If you actually think about it, if you know, are gonna live to 70 to 80, which a lot of people do, 40 is like halfway. So you shouldn't be looking like you're aging in 40. Like 40, you should still be like, I'm on the up and up. Like your body, your skin should still look tight and glowing, right? And so I think a lot of times people are not taking care of their body. Get your nutrition right. And I would even take this another level further is really get clear with going to the doctors and getting regular checkups, right? This is the time when things start to pop up, things start to happen. You know, I have definitely lost some people I've known in my life due to a health issue or health challenge, you know, so make sure you go to the doctor, do that blood work. I know for me recently, I was realizing that my anxiety was always popping up around my cycle. And I'm still trying to get a control of that. But I went to the doctor and I checked my hormones, right? And I noticed there was one specific hormone that was spiking, right? And so I'm like, okay, how do I get a handle on that? So it's so important that you focus on these things and you make sure that you get all these things together, because like I said, if you don't, in your 30s, you're going to start to age, and you're going to start to age faster than a banana. Another thing is your parents are going to start aging faster than you think. And I know for me, this is really hitting me because, you know, now that I'm married and I'm not with my mother and father every day, when I do see them, I'm starting to notice specific things. And, you know, a lot of people always talk about my skin. Now, of course, I take really good care of my skin, but a lot of it is due to my genetics with my parents. My parents have impeccable skin, both of them. And it's interesting because my mom's in her 60s, my dad's in his 70s, and I'm finally starting to see the aging. You know, like I'm starting to see the wrinkles. I'm starting to see the slowness, right? I'm starting to see like not as agile as they were. And that's scary, you know, like that's scary that, you know, unfortunately anything can happen to your parents. And so one of the things I want to encourage you here is a couple of things. Number one, when I speak to a lot of people, they have some type of challenge with their parents. Maybe it's a trauma, maybe it's this unresolved issue, whatever it is, fix it, okay? Make sure you fix it. And if you're like, I don't even know how to start this conversation, go to therapy to prep you to have the conversation. I know for me, when I started dating my husband, early on, I saw there was a funny rift between him and his mother. And I was like, no. You need to fix this because number one, I feel like it's so important that sons have a good relationship with their mother. They shouldn't be mama boys, but they should have a good relationship. But number two, I really feel like how you treat your mother is how you're going to treat me. So if you don't have a good relationship with your mother, you're not going to have a good relationship with me. You're not going to see me. You're not going to respect me. And so it was very important to me that I made sure that he fixed that relationship. And they have a lovely relationship now, and they be talking for hours. And so I love seeing their relationship blossom. But I'm encouraging you that if you have a rift between your mother, your rift between your father, please take time to fix that because you never know. You never know. I have another friend who had a rift with his father and never fixed it, and the father died unexpectedly, and that's that. And I could tell like he has some unresolved feelings about it, right? I can really tell that it hurts him and it's in a deep pain. And so if you don't hear anything else in this video, I think it's so important to fix that relationship. I think the other thing too, and this is something I'm going to do, I'm going to fly back to see my mom in Maryland specifically, and I'm going to do this activity with her. And I also started doing this activity with my father, is really just understanding who they were as a man, as a woman. I think a lot of times our lens of our parents is simply from the lens of, you're my mother, you're my father. That's it. We don't really take time to understand their story, their why, how did they get here, how were they when they're little girls, how were they as their women, you know, and just understanding the life lessons that you can get get from that. So there is this book, right? And what I love about this book is that the book really just helps you get all that information from your parent, and you can save it for yourself, because again, it's just things and stories that I feel is so important to us, you know, as we're growing and as we're getting older, especially in your 30s, because again, in your 30s, a lot of us are getting married, we're having kids, and even if we're not, your parents are aging, right? And I definitely know some people who've lost their parents already, and it's, God forbid, that's my situation right now. I still want to be with my parents for a long, long time. But whether or not that is your situation, making sure you connect with them and spend more time with them as much as you can. And let me quickly speak some life into you, because I feel like a lot of people who are watching this video need this. And number one, you're gonna learn to stand up for yourself. You're gonna learn to walk away and how to move without grace, without apology. You'll become softer where it matters and stronger where it doesn't. And one day you're gonna wake up from life and you're gonna feel a sense of peace, not because life got easier, but because you got wiser. And ultimately, because you stopped waiting for someone to save you, you decided to save yourself. And if you're in your 30s or even your 20s, right? Because a lot of people that consume my content may be even younger, and you're feeling lost, you're feeling like I failed, you're feeling like I don't got it together, what's going on? I really want you to understand that you are not lost, you are becoming, right? You are consistently evolving into the human being that you want to be. And the truth is, the difference between those who do well in life and look back in life and say, you know, I did everything that I wanted to do, versus those who didn't, are the ones who decided to get up. They decided, I'm gonna get out my own way, I'm gonna do what I need to do. I know for me, I can't blame nobody but myself. That's why I get up and I do the things I wanna do. And every day I remind myself that, Chika, you have the power to be the person that you wanna be. So I want you to leave with that message, and I'm gonna see you in my next video.